O coffee, by the mighty name of power I do invoke thee, consecrating thee to the service of the magic light. Let the pulsations of my heart be strong and regular and slow. Let my brain be wakeful and active in its supreme task of self-control. That my desired end may be effected through thy strength. Adonai, unto whom be the glory forever. Amen without lie, and amen, and amen, and amen. That was written by Aleister Crowley. And our thanks go to our friend and brother, Frater Oz, for digging that up and posting it. It is so, so cute. Anyway, not only that, it's sincere. That's pretty much how Constance and I feel about coffee. Especially the way she makes it. Okay, today we move from coffee to chastity. And of course we're reading the last couple little chapters of Little Essays Toward Truth, something Crowley wrote in the general time period where he was writing the holy books of Thelema, or several of the important ones from like 1907 through 19. Well, I'm not sure exactly when this was written, but I think it was before 1912. But don't quote me. Richard Kaczynski is probably the person to tell you exactly when he wrote this. Chastity. Now, I'm going to digress right after that first thing. Remember, we had knowledge, which is sort of da'ath. And then the next one was understanding, which is bina, number 3. Now, number 2 on the tree of life is wisdom. But there is a doorway to wisdom, and that is what we're going to call silence. Okay. Excuse me. We're going to call chastity. I almost gave it away. Okay. Chastity. I digress here. I hope you're enjoying these installments of Little Essays Toward Truth. As I mentioned before, it's very hard to actually get a published copy of it that you don't pay collectors' prices for, but you can find the text of it floating around the internet everywhere. And I think I even put a link up a little bit earlier. So, okay, I'm through digressing. Chastity. Of those works of ancient and medieval literature which more particularly concern the seeker after truth, concur on one point. The most worthless grimoires of black magic, no less than the highest philosophical flights of the brotherhood, which we name not, insist upon the virtue of chastity as cardinal to the gate of wisdom. And wisdom is another name for Chokmah on the tree of life in the supernal triad, number 2. Let it be first noted this word virtue, the quality of manhood, integral with virility. Now he's talking about these words in their Latin or Greek roots even, and why we even use these words in the context of spiritual subjects. But I digress. First, let it be noted this word virtue, the quality of manhood, vir, get it? Okay. Integral with virility, the chastity of the adept of the rose and cross, or of the Grail Knights of Monsleva, is not other than very opposite of that which the poet can write. Chastity, that slavering sates his lust without walls, muse, and is gone, preening himself that his lewd lips relent. Or to that emasculate frigor of Alfred Tennyson and the academic schools. The chastity whose magical energy both protects and urges the aspirant to the sacred mysteries is quite contrary in its deepest nature to all vulgar ideas of it. For it is, in the first place, a positive passion. In the second, connected only by obscure magical links with the sexual function. And in the third, the deadliest enemy of every form of bourgeois morality and sentiment. It may assist us to create in our minds a clear concept of this noblest and rarest, yet most necessary of the virtues. If we draw the distinction between it and one of its ingredients, purity. Purity is a passive or at least static quality. It connotes the absence of all alien admixture from any given idea, as pure gillium, pure mathematics, pure race. It is a secondary and derived use of the word which we find in such expressions as pure milk, which imply freedom from contamination. Chastity, per contra, is, as the etymology, castus. And I'm going to spell this because he's going to start playing with this word castus, because that's where the root of chastity is coming from. And castus, C-A-S-T-U-S, possibly connected with castrum, a fortified camp. And he's got a footnote here because he's getting off on talking, or getting us off on talking about the root of the word. The root cas, C-A-S, means house. And in house is Beth in Hebrew, the Hebrew letter Beth, the letter of Mercury, the magus of the tarot. He is not still in a place of repose, but the quintessence of all motion. He is the logos. He is phallic. This doctrine is of the utmost Kabbalistic importance. And the logos is also a function of the grade of magus, which is number 2 on the tree of life, wisdom. Okay. I'll read that sentence again. Chastity, per contra, is The etymology, castus, possibly connected with castrum, a fortified camp, suggests may be supposed to assert the moral attitude of readiness to resist any assault upon the existing state of purity. So like a fortified camp, see? And here's a quote from Milton. So dear to heaven is saintly chastity that when a soul is found sincerely so, 1,000 liveried angels lackey it. Not lack it, but lackey, like you. Attend. Okay. Sang Milton with the true poet's veil-piercing sword vision. For service is but waste unless action demands it. The Sphinx is not to be mastered by holding aloof, and the brutish innocence of paradise is always at the mercy of the serpent. It is his wisdom that should guard our ways. We need his swiftness, subtlety, and his royal prerogative of dealing death. The innocence of the adept, we are at once reminded of the strong innocence of Harpocrates and of his energy of silence. A chaste man is thus not merely one who avoids the contagion of impure thoughts and their results, but whose virility is competent to restore perfection to the world about him. Thus, the Parsifal who flees from Kundry and her attendant flower witches loses his way and must wander long years in the desert. He is not truly chaste until he is able to redeem her, an act which he performs by the reunion of the lance and the sangreal, the Holy Grail. Chastity may thus be defined as the strict observance of the magical oath. That is, in the light of the law of Thelema, absolute and perfected devotion to the holy guardian angel and exclusive pursuit of the way of the true will. It is entirely incompatible with the cowardice of moral attitude, the emasculation of soul and stagnation of action, which commonly denote the man called chaste by the vulgar. Beware of abstinence from action. There's a bumper sticker for you. Beware the abstinence from action. Is it not written in our lection? For the nature of the universe being creative energy, aught else blasphemes the goddess, and seeks to introduce the elements of a royal death within the pulses of life. The chaste man, the true knight-errant of the stars, imposes continually his essential virility upon the throbbing womb of the king's daughter. With every stroke of his spear, he penetrates the heart of holiness and bids spring forth the fountain of the sacred blood, splashing its scarlet dew throughout space and time. His innocence melts with its white, hot energy the felon fetters of that restriction which is sin, and his integrity with its fury of righteousness establishes that justice which alone can satisfy the yearning lust of the womanhood whose name is opportunity. As the function of the castrum, or the castellum, is not merely to resist the siege, but to compel to obedience the law the obedience of law and order, every pagan within its range of writers. Also, it is the way of chastity to do more than defend its purity against assault. For he is not wholly pure who is imperfect. And perfect is no man in himself without his fulfillment of all possibility. Thus then, must he be instant to seek all proper adventure and achieve it, seeing well to it that by no means should distract him or divert his purpose, polluting his true nature and hamstringing his true will. Woe, woe, therefore, to him, the unchaste, who shrinks scornful the seeming trivial, or flees fearful the desperate adventure. And woe, thrice woe, and 4 times woe be unto him who is allured by the adventure, slacking his will, and demitted from his way. For as the laggard and the dastard are lost, so is the toy of circumstance dragged down to the nethermost hell. Sir Knight, be vigilant. Watch your arms and renew your oath. For that day is of sinister augury and deadly charged with danger which ye fill not to overflowing with the gay deeds and bold of masterful, of manly chastity. Well, that'll give you something to chew on, I think. Anyway, tomorrow we start with silence, and there's only a bit more left in Little Essays Toward Truth. It's a cold and chilly morning, and my office is cold and chilly, and I'm going to try to warm myself up. We here in the Sacramento area are preparing, and entire Northern California are preparing for another one of these atmospheric rivers with flood watches and wind advisories and a lot of rain coming our way. So hold a good thought for us, and hold a good thought for everyone who is now starting to really experience the atmospheric chaos that we'd been warned for years about. Anyway, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Thanks again to Frater Oz for coffee, Aleister Crowley's coffee. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love and do well.